Alright everybody, Tim Time Projects, Tim here. And what I'm actually going to do today is working with those 746s, the IC 746s. Since I have two bad radios, but two bad different parts, I want to see if I can maybe narrow down the one that doesn't transmit and take the transmitter board from the other one, the RF board, and put it into that radio. The reason I want to do it the other way around is because the other one had a lightning strike, and I don't know what all was affected by it. It might be a lot more than just the mainboard circuit. And if I do it the other way, then I can't do anything else till I fix that mainboard circuit. So at least this way I can diagnose a little bit with the no output from the other radio, and if I can narrow that down, then maybe we can pull a board out of the lightning strike one. So at least I'll know where to go if I ever get that digital problem figured out so that it boots up. So without further delay, let's move on to some testing and see where we get from there. So before I put this radio in, I want to take this off. And I believe that IC right there is that 151 that everybody complains about on the Pro. No, I don't know about on this radio, but that would be probably like a pre-driver. I'll have to look it up and see what it is, but maybe while I'm here I can look for a signal on it. So where I'm getting ready to test here is right exactly in the middle of the screen here, this area. That's that IC151. It's an amplifier, and I guess there's a lot of problems with that. I see more of it on the 746 Pro, but what I'm going to do is I'll check the input right where the green arrow is, and I should have a small RF signal coming into that, and then I'll check the output right where the red arrow is, and I should have a larger signal coming out of that. And I think what we find is if we don't get that desired output, then it's this board. Not this board, it's this chip. However, I do have another board we could try, and I might do that. I feel kind of like it's like a cop-out to do that and not replace the IC, but I don't have any of the ICs available. And I also don't know if that's the whole problem with the board, so we'll check that, and if we don't get the desired output, I think I'm going to swap the boards from the other 746 that has the data problem, and we'll see what happens. I go back and let the scope pick it out. I'm seeing a very small signal, but a signal nonetheless. Then it goes away. So that's pin 1. That's what you're supposed to see. Well, I don't know if that's what you're supposed to see, but you're supposed to see a signal. And then at pin 5, I should see the output. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. I gotta spin this around a little bit so I can see pin 5. I'm not getting anything out, almost nothing, but we will. So there's. All right, we appear to have input to that IC, but no output, and it definitely has voltage because you can see my signal jumping around. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to see about maybe swapping these two boards. Maybe it's cheating, I don't know. So I'm going to get all the connections off of it. I'll explain the method to my madness in a few minutes here, if this works. Alright, so J701 went through under all these ribbon cables and came over here and connected to J1031. This cable right here that comes from J160 comes across and plugs right in beside the filters at J921. This guy here pushes through this board, or pushes through the case, and it's J621, and it looks like it goes to J501. This one here, these two here, I'm able to disconnect right from this board, I think. Here we go, there's one. And two, so black goes to the one, the furthest inside one, blue goes to the furthest outside one, red goes over here to that. I'll just swing this up out of our way, I think. And then if I take the rest of these screws out, come on out. There we go. Looks like another screw right here. I can go there. Now this board just lift up. Sure feels like it. Looks like I gotta come forward a little bit to be able to get out of there. And it's plugged into the main unit on these two cables. Don't know why I didn't see that originally. Come on out. Boy, that's squeezed in there pretty tight. I don't like that. Alright, so this can stay here. This is a don't know if it's good, but maybe good one. Get this radio out of our way. Alright, I'm going to put this one on the table now. And I already got his screws started in here, so I'm going to put them all in here. Okay, you probably don't really need to see me take a bunch of screws out again and re-rod cables, so I'll just zoom through this. They're going to come out. In theory, that should be all of them. Okay. So this board's out of the one with the that won't fire up. How's that going? All this wraps around like that. That goes in like that. Sets flat on down. Put this ribbon cable under here. Maybe. Under one. Under two, maybe. And then here's the third one. Under three. All right. It gets tucked on into all this stuff. Put a couple of screws in to hold it still. Alright, this little guy goes in here. Down here a little bit. Plug in this ribbon cable. Plug in this guy here. You can go there for now. You can push down here a little bit. Where you? I don't want to squeeze you as tight as you were. There you go, like that. So does it look like we have everybody plugged? Oh, not you. There's that ribbon cable, so we got him on. He got to get plugged into this board. And then tucked under here a little bit. Like that. Like that. You're plugged in, you're plugged in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so everybody's plugged in. Let's stick this shield up here. Come back in. We'll stick this on 2. I'll confirm that that's 2. That is 2. Put a little power and hope we don't hear a loud pop. And then back to the drawing board. Alright, so we're on antenna 2. AM, and I'm getting power output. Okay, so look here at the bird meter. What I'm gonna have to do to get that going. For some reason my keyboard's doing that. Let's put on autofocus. There you go, that looks good. Okay. So, the dummy load's that way, the antennas or the little meters pointing that way. So we're on the 100 watt scale. We should be looking, what's this AM? Right around 50, I guess. I think that's what these put out. So we'll transmit into the dummy load on the antenna 2. A little bit over 40. We'll look at FM. FM should be closer to 100. And about 100 exactly. Alright. Let's put it on lower sideband, upper side, any of the sidebands. Where the heck? Here's single sideband. 1, 2. Oh, we gotta put it on peak reading. Test 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Audio test. 1, 2. Alright, well, appears we have output on this radio. Alright, so let me put the cases back on this one, the case back on this one, and maybe we'll give it a trial run. Now this is with that 18 feet of wire that ICOM used with the radios, so what are we getting on FM? I turn the power way down. On FM I go a little bit, not quite to full. Oh yeah, we're still getting at least 100 watts, so sideband, where's that? 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2. A little laggy on the sideband, but it's still there. 1, 2. Right when I turn the camera on, it stops, but it's always worth listening to something on here. There's a guy.
The outside of Carolina's smoking, huh?
Guess we better check for output on the UHF side too, or the VHF side. Let's see what we get. All right, I'm on. Looks like I have it turned to about half power, and here on the meter, let's turn that to power. Put it up to 200 watts. Well, there's 20 watts first, and we will hit transmit, and it pegs it. That's saying about 20, so 200, let's just see. So that's about, more like about 40. And the power, that's almost all the way. That's going to about 50. What's the output supposed to be on these things? Saying 100 watts. Alright, if I plug my dummy load directly into the radio without anything else, I'm showing 100 watts. Why is that blurry? Alright, to hopefully get some closure here, let's see what we get now. 200 forward. Power. Forward. So it should be about up to here. And it's 100 watts on 2 meters. That is correct. The problem I had was I was using this for the jumper lead from the radio to the SWR meter. This is just generic RG58U. Well, I can't, if you can see it, I don't know if it'll zoom in on that. You can't see it. Anyhow, that did it, and I had another piece of that and tried that, did the exact same thing. I have a piece of LMR 240 here that I'm using. You can tell it's a, you can't tell because you can't see it. It's a little bit more of a brittle cable, but this is better for VHF. So it was that lossy through that cable, just that short piece. So anyhow, that's all it was. So if you're going to check, make sure, you know, HF is very forgiving, but you get the VHF and then UHF, and anything beyond that, you'll be using waveguides. So don't write things off just because you have new. This cable's new. It's just that it's from Amazon, you know, some junky cable that works fine for HF, but not so much for VHF. All right, so that wraps it up. Thanks for watching.